held you up a little bit over here. That was nice of it.
The problem is he's so fast on the straight and slow on the corner. But I guess that's a practical.
Yep. How's the car feel with the lower tire pressure?
Feels better on the low speed, but not as good on the high speed.
Okay, so we'll leave them where they are.
Yeah.
Just leave them where they are.
Although the only thing I'm curious, is there a pressure difference between left and right? There.
Alright, whenever you want to go out. You put the left deck up.
trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will feel free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you are the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a I don't give a fuck. 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 It's time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instinct, stop listening to others, and own your decisions. People will always tell you what to do, being and how to live. So let's create space for what matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start reclaiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike, you have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
All right, let's see if that fixed it. Pardon me, guys. I still have a very scratchy voice, even more so than last night. So Joe, you're gonna have to help me out tonight, buddy.
Let's do it.
Sorry, man.
Eating like a chomp, like a 5-year-old.
That's it's all right, man. You need your energy. You need your energy for this one. Yeah, but guys, I woke up this morning. I didn't have a voice at all. I don't know what I did yesterday and all the past few days, but I have. It's been terrible. It's been terrible. I've got all the honey eucalyptus stuff. Just calm down. I'm doing all the things, but it's been terrible. Joe, if you could just go really quickly, go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll kick this thing off.
You just got to drink bourbon, man. Big fan of bourbon. Drinking tea tonight, YouTube. But guys, I'm Joe Mobeley. I'm the host of the Joe Mobeley Show, which is uncloseted conservative type content. We're on a mission to restore, rebuild, revive America's dying culture. I am a 12-year veteran in the United States Army, disabled, can't go back, and I'm a for my real job, I'm a current. This is where some people will just leave. You're gonna lose like 6 followers like that. I am a current intelligence professional, but I'm a contractor, so the Hatch Act doesn't apply to me. I can say what I want when I want to whom I would like. Yeah, excited to be here. Thanks for having me on, brother.
I'm really happy and excited to have you on the show. I saw you on CT, Chaotic Truth, and you were just funny, man. You're really hilarious, and you're great. So, if you could, so you had a radio show and a big podcast on YouTube.
I did once upon a time. Yeah. So I started as a security guy, as an intelligence guy. I'm intensely private. I did not want to have a podcast. I did not want to be any type of internet personality. I've learned to stop calling her my high school sweetheart, my high school girlfriend, who I also dated in college. As a birthday present, Christmas present or something, I think my freshman year of college, she had made a Facebook for some social media platform for me and had added all of our friends. And let me tell you, that was the beginning of the end of our relationship. So I'm like a Ron Swanson-ish figure. But sometime between March of 2020 and whatever was going on then, and all of the nonsense surrounding George Floyd. I served 2 years in law enforcement before I was in the military. So sometime between March 2020 and the George Floyd nonsense, Summer of Love, Golden Casket, and this holy veneration for this, drug dealing thug, I was like, this is it. And I went through the test. Does something be said? Does it need to be said by me? And does it need to be said now or soon? And the answer was yes. So November 31, 2020, we launched the show. I moved back to Loudoun County, or I moved back to Virginia maybe a month before that, and immediately got thrust into everything with Loudoun County and the school board and local politics and the naughty books and the young man who said that he was a woman and he kept assaulting biological women in the bathrooms at school and the school board lying about it. I kind of got thrust into all of that. November only has 30 days. Thank you, sweet wife. November 30th, then. That would have been my first episode. If it was,
I'm lagging out hard now. I don't know why,
right.
but I'm lagging really bad now.
Oh, I thought I was just born you. You look like you have a George W. Bush face on.
Joe, give me 1 second, man. I don't know why, but we are lagging ridiculous.
Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah, give me 1 second. The lag is just it went from like not bad to terrible. So let me see if I can fix it. It may pop you out. I'll pop you right back in.
Sounds good.
This is nuts.
It says he's frozen, but you aren't. Well, I guess it depends where you're watching. I don't know what the image looks like on the different shows.
Yeah, you keep freezing. I think it's my internet. I think it's me. Which it shouldn't be.
It wouldn't be a live show if we didn't have IT issues.
We're good now. It looks terrible on my end. It's really bad. I don't know what's going on.
So I've never used Talk Studio or what Streamlabs.
Yeah.
I have the YouTube up. The YouTube looks good. And oh, wait a minute. Yeah, the YouTube looks good on my
All right.
end.
Maybe it's just on my end that it looks bad. All right, we'll just keep going. We'll just keep rolling.
Yeah, people in chat say looks good.
Yeah, everybody says it's looking good. That's great. Guys, I apologize. I have actually been having some trouble with my internet lately, but it hasn't been this bad. So, and again, guys, I really apologize for my voice tonight. I spent like, I think 12 hours or 13 hours yesterday streaming with various people, and I did my show, and it's just too much. It was too much. Blame Cheeks. That's right. blame Cheeks. That's absolutely right. All right. So, all right. Well, I continue, Joe. I'm sorry I interrupted you. I didn't mean to.
That was it. The ridiculousness of the 2020 illness and George Floyd. So launched the podcast. Loudoun County kind of thrust me into the public eye. I wasn't the spokesperson, but I was one of the front men for Fight for Schools with Ian Pryor here. And this dude, I mean, he was incredible. And he had me booked on all of these mainstream media shows. So it kind of made my fledgling podcast blow up more than I was ready for at the time for my level of ability as a creator. But then I kept having these ups and downs. YouTube blew up my show before the election, a week before the election, not like they did Steven Crowder's show where they just took him down for a week. They blew mine out of the water. It was gone. My playlist, everything that I had built on YouTube, like personally for me, music playlists, I used to teach trombone lessons, all of those resources just gone. They were screw you, never to return. So I did have a year, an interesting year, where I was approached by a gentleman who works with some really big names in radio and broadcast, and who've gone on to do things with mainstream media and the like. And he said, hey, we got to get your show on Coast to Coast Radio. And I did it. And I actually made several $1,000s. I had my first brand deal with Birch Gold, and they did not renew. It would have been awesome if they did. And the radio thing was hard. If I'm just going to call a spade, it was hard. I did not try to do it past 1 year. And some people have asked, hey, are you going to go back on radio? Honestly, I don't know. It's different. Like it's very strict. The format's very strict. The things that you have to do and the stakeholders that you have to engage with if you're going to do nationally syndicated radio, it's tough, especially for a one-man band like me. I'm sure you have some of the same things worked into your workflow. But yeah, I decided to put my big boy panties on like a couple of weeks ago, because I used to be streaming live once a week, Thursday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and then releasing that as a podcast Friday morning. And I've decided, just like I've mentored dozens of people that I've managed over the years, hey, if you want the next job, if you want the next thing, start doing it now. I started doing a daily show a couple of weeks ago, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And it sucks, man. It's hard, but it's fun.
Well, that sounds like a good roller coaster ride. But that actually leads me into something that I'm glad that you're on to talk about, because, as you know, Lauren Chin just had all of her YouTube nuked. They haven't charged her. She's not indicted. She's literally YouTube just said, you know what? We just don't like this. Done. And it's very interesting happening right now. And I'm really curious about your input. And Arthur Daya says she used to listen to you on the radio.
Who did?
Arthur Daya in the chat right here.
Oh, I thought you said Lauren Chen. I was like, no, she didn't. Oh, wow. You know, I've I've met or encountered podcast fans all over and a couple like streamer fans, but I've never met someone that listens to me on the radio. The biggest market was California. So awesome. Very cool.
She's in Florida.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I know this to probably Salem. Up here it's like 104 or something. Anyway, the Chen situation, Lauren Chen, Tenet Media, all of that stuff is interesting. Do we know that YouTube nuked her channel, or because for some reason I thought that she nuked her channel.
Well, so according to the reports, now obviously you understand reports are purposely vague for a reason.
Yeah.
According to the reports, the FBI confiscated all of her gear, all the laptops, all her phones, everything. And so because there were a lot of people who are like, why isn't Lauren responding to this? Why isn't she saying anything? Why did she go completely dark? Well, the answer is she can't respond. She doesn't have anything to respond with. And then I'm assuming before anything was given back, YouTube nuked all 4 of her channels. They removed them completely. And I don't mean just like suspended. I mean gone.
Yeah. I feel comfortable then making my comment. Happy to be wrong, proven wrong in the future.
Sure.
These aren't hard facts. This is just
this is a discussion because right now there are no facts.
Yeah.
We have a narrative. We don't have facts.
I think one thing, and then I think one thing that's got some evidence, and then I think the conspiracy theory. I'll tell you the latter.
Yeah, let's go.
First.
I need you to talk a lot because the more I talk, the worse it gets for me.
I think that Lauren Chen and her boo, her husband, whomever, I think his name is Liam. I think that they did this thing. I think that they, and I just hate to say it out loud, colluded in some kind of way with the Russians, knowing where this money and power and influence was coming from. I think, like the FBI is saying now, they allegedly conspired to bring down a bunch of conservative creators by attaching them unknowingly to Russia as Russian propagandist. And that's Tim Pool, that's what's his name, Dave Rubin, and all of those other guys, Taylor Lorenz, all of the Tenet Media people, Matt Christensen, who I've had on my show. Great channel, the Matt and Blonde Show on Sunday nights. I think they did that. I think they totally did that. I think they knew what they were doing. I think the people who it's right to call them victims did not know that they were being financed because they've all spoken about publicly and privately. Megyn Kelly was just saying she was having a conversation with Dave Rubin talking about, hey, I'm getting involved with this Tenet Media thing. And she asked the question, what's it all about? And he says it's financed by like a Prussian or a Swedish guy or something like that, because that's what Lauren told him. Tim Pool's got the same story. Everyone involved has the same story. Lauren Chen was socializing this idea with them, and the financial backing came from a foreign citizen, but specifically not a Russian, not a CCP Chinese guy, not an oligarchical Russian. It was some European country. I wish I had this up. I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but
well, I didn't give you any indication because I wanted raw. I like raw.
Yeah, I think they did it. I think her and her husband or fiance or whatever their status is, I think they did it. Why? I have no idea. But here's the conspiracy.
Oh, I want to hear that. And then I'll give you my take.
So I looked at the indictment. I looked at a lot of the indictment. Today I was talking with Outspoken Samantha. She co-hosts with me on Thursday nights. And just saying, hey, what do we think of this? the way that the indictment reads, it seems that they unknowingly, just like the Department of Injustice often does, they unknowingly showed their hand, backed themselves into a corner, and now their actions have to be in alignment with what the indictment says. The indictment says that the other personalities of Tenet Media are victims, that they were defrauded, that they were lied to, brought into this relationship under false pretenses for the purpose of being Russian propagandists unknowingly. The indictment clearly says that. I don't think the Department of Injustice meant to do that. I think the Department of Injustice or the deep state or whatever version of United States government's nameless, faceless leaders were actually involved in this and were actually making this happen just like this Russian supposedly was making this happen. So I think that this happened. I think that Russia or this Russian and the nameless, faceless leaders in the United States made this happen. They collaborated to get Lauren Chen to do their bidding to try and take down all of these conservative creators as some type of Russian assets, which is laughable. Like Tim Pool is practically a libertarian. He doesn't give a crap about the left or the right, and he doesn't give a crap
He's
about
definitely an isolationist.
yeah, he doesn't care about Russia, Ukraine, Israel,
Yeah.
any other country. He's like, yeah, I don't care. He barely cares about anything other than West Virginia and Maryland, where his businesses are and where his residence is.
So I have a slightly different take. I'm going to have to drink something first before I. So I think that Lauren Chen and her husband entered into the business deal knowing that there was probably something weird about it, but I don't know that they knew it was Russians, because Lauren Chen's never said anything pro-Russian that I can find ever. And she said a couple of things that are derogatory about Russia. Not many, but then again, most YouTube creators don't say anything derogatory about any country specifically, unless they're like me. And I say shit all the time, but I find it interesting that her and her husband are Canadian citizens.
Yeah.
And if that's true, then them taking the money from the Russians isn't a big deal because they're not American citizens. They have no allegiance to the United States. And therefore they can't really be prosecuted in any way for sedition or treason or anything like that. They could be deported, obviously. And I find it really, really interesting that if they actually believed this about Chen, they would have enough evidence to have her named in the indictment. I think they've known about this for about a year. I think they've been sitting.
The indictment is veiled. So she's producer one, Liam's producer two, and then they have all of the creators and you can kind of figure out who's who. They're really only with the masking of the names. This is how interesting law enforcement is. We can only 2 or 3 actors are unknown at this time. Everyone else, we can very confidently plug in who this person is based on alleged actions from the indictment.
Right. So I think the biggest problem I have with it, other than the fact that I can't hardly talk, is I personally think that, look, the FBI probably knew about this for a year and they've been sitting on it. It's very interesting the timing of the indictment coming down. The conservative free media, let's just call what we do, you and I, free media, right? Conservative free media is growing, whereas the opposite side seems to be shrinking. And they have their I'm sorry.
Nothing. Good.
Oh, I thought I got some weird garble there. So if you look at what the U.S. government's or the leftists have done by backing like Destiny and Jasmine Jafad, Farha, and Not So Erudite, and so on and so forth, where they've admitted on camera that they were paid by leftists to put specific things in their podcast, in their discussions. In the Pierce Morgan interview, Destiny literally said it doesn't matter why he's saying what he's saying. It could be paid for by anybody. It doesn't matter. It's still the point that's the problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the leftist version of the free media is losing traction. I think the right side is gaining traction, and that's all bad, all bad. So I think your take that they're trying to remove, like Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, and everyone else, I think that's right. I think that they held on to this for this specific time. It seemed the timing is very interesting. The indictment is very, very interesting. The fact that they actually, that it's an indictment and not charges, that's really interesting to me. But I think they're going to have, I think all of this, honestly, is a nothing burger, because I don't think that they can prove that Chen had anything to do with trying to tell them to be pro-Ukraine or be this or whatever. And literally every creator.
That's the nothing burger part of it. Even if there's no there, because Chen doesn't have any pro-Russian content. She might have, unless you can spin it and say anti-Ukraine is pro-Russia.
She's never really said anything anti-Ukraine.
But none of those creators, they're cooperating. They're like, you can check our emails, you can dump our phone.
Right.
No one told us to say anything. None of them. And just like the one or two times I've been approached about doing a collaborative thing, the reason that I did not do it is because of lack of creative control. No one ever tells creators like us what to say, how to feel about things. It's a non-starter for us. So
You're right. Exactly.
I don't care who's funding it. Honestly, I mean, think about this. If a Russian approached me, I probably couldn't do this, but let's say UK, I hate the UK, right? But if an Englishman approached and said, I've got $500 million to finance your show and you can keep creative control, we're having a conversation. Right. I'll tell you right now, 10 out of 10 times, we're having a conversation.
And I think what they're looking at is, did Chen have any reason to believe that these people were actually Russian? And they probably did. But did she have any reason to believe that they were associated with the Russian government? Now that's harder to prove. That's why they want her phones and emails and all of that. And I just think the timing is what's important here. They need to push down conservative, their terms, free media creators who are getting all of these messages out, like yourself. And especially like Tim Pool. Tim Pool has a massive audience. Dave Rubin. And the talking heads not talking heads, but the liberal and supposedly center creators that I've heard, it's the worst content I've ever heard. The way that they're talking about, I heard one yesterday, and he was basically saying that it didn't make sense that Tim Pool blew up the way he did. And his, it seems like his political ideologies didn't naturally progress. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? What's a natural progression of your political ideology? Right? Like,
well,
I don't know what that means.
It needs to be within the lexicon of appropriateness. What is this called? It's called the window, whatever that window is called. I can't think of what it's called. This is going to bug the crap out of me. It's not Orwell. It's the something when someone in the chat knows what between your chat and mine, someone knows what I'm talking about here. Outspoken Samantha's in the chat, and Overton window. Thank you.
Arthur Dye is very smart.
But she's
feminist, but she's very smart.
Who?
Arthur Dye. She's a closet feminist.
That's a whole other conversation. We were texting about this earlier, full disclosure, but when we didn't have the full conversation. But she says, I think they did it, the Chens. I think they did it. But I also think they were set up in some way. That's exactly how I feel. Exactly.
Well, I think that they did it. I think they took the money. Who wouldn't? If somebody came to you.
Exactly. That's not even a crime.
If somebody came to you and they said, look, we represent a media group. We're trying to invest in new creators. We know we may lose money, but we have to lose money to make money. We're going to tell us how much you need and we'll make it happen. You're going to be like, yeah, okay, let's make it happen. There's nobody that's going to do that, right? The problem is that for it to be against the law, they have to engage in propaganda, and they can't prove that I can see. That's the worst thing they have right now is money laundering because of the way the Russians move the money through shell companies. And they can't even prove money laundering if they were just using it as tax diversions, right? Like this is crazy to me. This is crazy.
But there's no nexus between, so far as we can tell, there's no nexus between the criminality of these people money laundering and doing all this stuff. This is the same thing. Like if this exact person donates $100,000 to the Red Cross, the Red Cross is free and clear. They did nothing wrong. They had no ties, no allegiance to whatever government. I don't even know where the Red Cross is based out of. Maybe they do it on a country by country basis. Who knows? But otherwise, could you imagine the state of affairs if you, as a bad actor, could just give money to someone and wreck their life? Like that would be insane.
I think it sets a bad precedent because what that means is that investors like me, if I wanted to support Joe Mobeley, now I got to think about, is this going to come back to bite me later? Right.
Well, on the conservative front, it doesn't even matter. Exactly what you said before is what needs to happen. And I've proselytized this idea all over the place. The left is winning because they are not just willing to spend money to make money. They're willing to spend money and lose it to gain power and influence. There's no significant investment from the right that has a lot of billionaires, friends. Yeah, I'll just leave it there. We have enough money on the right, but the right is all about ROI, pure capitalism, which is great. Fine, I get it. It's your money. Do what you want with it. But if you're going to try and win a culture war, it takes investment.
Right.
And it takes speculative, risky investment that you might not see again. Maybe you should have interviewed Outspoken Samantha. She's all over it. In today's court of political opinion.
Come on, send her the link. Have her come on.
Look at this. In today's court of political opinion, if you're conservative, allegations mean you're guilty. That is
have her come on. Send her the link. Have her come on.
Sam, do you want us to send you the link? This randomly offers me 10. I'm just sad. If someone randomly offers me $10 million, now I have to say no. I'm not saying no. I'm not. Yeah,
right.
I'll have attorneys look at,
especially if they don't tell you that that there's no, that you don't have to say anything.
Yeah, exactly.
If somebody says, Joe, I like you. Here's $100,000 a month. Please make great content. Are you going to say anything other than, yes, sir, I will make that happen for you?
But more than that, we're already doing it. They're saying, hey, love what you're doing. I see smoke. I see fire. Let's pour some gasoline on that. I'm doing it. I'm doing it for a lot less money than 500 million. Like she said, 10. I sent her the link.
Okay,
which is
that'll
funny.
be great. That way it can talk even less.
this is funny because we didn't have a show this week. I canceled all my shows. Work was beyond crazy this week. Like I actually had to earn my paycheck this past week. And I think I
when
did
that happens.
a 12-hour day and maybe a couple of like 10s. But anyway, yeah, my official opinion, my one-liner on the Lauren Chen, the whole situation is it doesn't pass the sniff test. Did someone do something wrong? Probably. But was it knowingly like defrauding the conservative creators, her trying to make Russian propagandizers out of them? The answer for me is no. It just doesn't pass the sniff test. It
doesn't. Yeah, you're right. No, 100%. It doesn't work. It's really terrible. The interesting thing,
think about the people involved. Are you kidding?
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, so I don't know, man. I just none of this makes sense to me. None of the things that the left or center content creators are saying right now, none of it makes sense. It's all, to me, what it seems like is it's trying to villainize conservative creators and cast them in a shadow. Pardon me. And, within 60 days of the election, right?
That's the whole point. You nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's just a coincidence that it happened the day after Tim Pool's lawsuit against Kamala's team went active. I think that's just a coincidence.
Oh, Samantha, you got to use you got to use an Unreasonable Man's link. I just texted it to you. You're in my link. Ah, there she goes. Okay, she should be coming up here sometime. Have you ever met Outspoken Samantha or seen her content?
No, I haven't.
It's really good. She's like a I don't know, if there were a white girl Texas version of me, then that would be her. No, I take that back. Her content is very good. In a lot of ways, it's better than mine. So maybe she says that I'm the black male version of her.
Oh, okay. I have to apologize to you for not. I was honestly thinking about canceling today because of my voice being so bad, but I just didn't want to. I was like, this is going to be a great show no matter what. So let's just keep it going.
No problem, man. What you need is and tea is great. Actually, tea plus bourbon. Well, yeah, make a hot toddy. Get some honey, some lemon, some tea, and some bourbon. Good to go.
There we go.
And there's some crud going around. There she is.
Hi. I'm now a show crasher.
That's okay.
I just go around and like
less. You and Joe can talk, and I can sit here and look ugly. Is what I'll do.
No, I just go around and comment on random people's shows until they invite me on. So,
but this is how it all works. The left can't stop this.
Yeah.
We were sitting on another show and just message in the chat, hey man, I love what you're putting down. Like, let's collaborate. And this has happened. Probably half of the shows that I've been in, probably you guys have been on, have happened like this.
Yeah. No.
I had CT on the other night, and he was tired, man. He was just like, he was dragging so bad, but it was still a great show. It was still a great show. I've got to get him back on when he's like, when he's really hot and popping, but he was just like,
he worked so hard. I'm so glad that he hit 10K the other day, but like I'm anxiously awaiting when his show really explodes because he just puts in an incredible amount of work. He really does.
Yeah.
And so does Outspoken Samantha. Tell us, I know who you are, but
please introduce yourself to the people watching and or who will watch this later?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you said. You guys, I can only
If
listen
you
to one
could-
person at a
I'm
time.
sorry. I'm sorry. If you could just introduce yourself, talk about yourself for a little bit to the people watching and who will watch later.
Sure, sure. I'm Outspoken Samantha. I've been doing commentary on current events, political issues, cultural issues for probably a couple of years now. I did run for office in Colorado a few years ago, and I thought that maybe I would do that again, but then I just kind of realized that was not my thing. So I really just enjoy diving into these issues, and just it surprises me, I think, a lot of times how many people are afraid to speak up about what is going on. So as much as I think that I'm like, I don't feel like I'm anybody important, I feel like I do say a lot of things that people are just afraid to say. So that is my role in this all this craziness. And so that's just kind of what I do.
When and when and where did you run in Colorado?
I ran for State House District 1 in Denver. And it was in 2020. So my whole campaign started right
gone.
before
Sorry.
COVID.
I fled Colorado in 2014.
Yeah. Yeah. My husband's family all still live there. They're not too far from Aurora, Colorado, where all that fun stuff is going on right now.
Yeah.
So
I had a house in Aurora, Colorado,
yeah.
up until the late unpleasantness with the COVID thing.
Yep. Yeah. So we are in the great state of Texas.
Awesome.
Where, yeah. So much better situation, at least for now.
And just so your audiences know who I am, I'm old. I'm a father of two. Both I have a 14-year-old and a 4-year-old, 10 years apart. It's perfect spacing. I retired at 45. I spent my life playing with other people's expensive cars and I owned shops, and I did a bunch of stuff. And I did I have no voice tonight because I think I've spent probably like 40 or 50 hours this week on various streams, including my own. I don't know why. I'm a competitive shooter. I shoot 3-gun and USPSA pistol. I do a bunch of stuff. I have a daytime show where I do political or mostly political and business kind of commentary. And then the evening show, which we're on now, is in theory, generically, lifestyle, men's advocacy, and relationship stuff. Much more casual. This is a show where we fly casual.
Love it.
But I just started doing this a few months ago because I'm retired and I'm bored. And the
First world problems.
yeah,
I'm retired and bored.
never feel sorry for a man with his own airplane. That's rule number one. Rule
That's
number
one of the rules I live by. So
never feel sorry for a guy with his own airplane. So I think that I like to talk to people, and in general, I feel like the show is normally pretty good. Again, I couldn't cancel tonight because I just thought it was going to be so great with with Joe. I didn't expect Samantha. Samantha's like a bonus, but I couldn't cancel. So and I'll just tough it out. So
yeah.
This is him. This is him saying he's more of a man than me because I canceled all of my shows this week.
I know. I was like, well, what's that like?
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. No, I was just really. Go ahead.
Can you tell us your Lauren Chen thing?
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of listening to a few different takes on the situation. I think for me personally, because I do listen to Lauren Chen a lot, I really appreciate her perspective on things. And I think it's probably why this whole thing was so shocking to me, especially when people are putting the narrative out there that it is a narrative until we know for sure what is going on, that she is, colluding with Russia, supposedly in favor of Trump. Putting out, a lot of people were talking about how she puts out anti-woman messaging. I don't know if that's like a Russian thing. I don't know. I've heard so many things going on, but I'm like, I've listened to a lot of her content. She's in favor of Trump, but I wouldn't consider her, like an extreme mega supporter. She has a lot of criticisms of Trump. And as far as pretty much every other issue, she seems to be very like balanced in her approach. So that's why I'm like, okay, so at what point was she being like fed specific talking points or Russian propaganda to be sharing with the United States? And does she really have that big of an influence where, that people in the Russian government would be seeking her out? So as Joe said, it really, in a lot of ways, doesn't pass the sniff test. I really do think, they took the money. My question is, what did they know and when did they know it? So
That's a great question. Something that's interesting to me that you kind of said is that Lauren, while she's popular, her opinions are not like unusual.
mm-hmm.
And even I don't know if you watched the debate between her and Andrew Wilson.
I don't think I did.
I think she tried to defend feminism or something. And he literally like took her to school. And he was really, and he said, look, we need Lauren Chin on our side, right? There's a lot of people who will follow Lauren Chin. And she really did change a lot of her more feminist views after that as a result of having that debate. It was a really great debate. If you haven't seen it, it's great to watch. I just don't, of course, you can't watch it on her channel now because it's new. But, you'll have to go behind Andrew's paywall. So Andrew comes out on this, but but I think that when we look at this with the Chin and Donovan, I think his name's Liam Donovan. When you look at this, I can't see any reason why they would, even if I don't know that I would have ever suspected Russians either. Somebody came to me when I was, as a matter of fact, if somebody came to me when I was racing and they said, hey, we want to give you, $100,000 an event and just go do your thing. I'd been like, yeah, cool. Sign a check. Here's a contract. We'll see you. I don't deep dive that involved. I don't get that involved in other people's businesses. Right. That's not my gig. And, the vengeful truther, Nick says, I can't see Lauren being a commie sympathizer. I kind of agree with that. I think she's an easy target because she's Chinese, really Canadian. And people just have this weird view of Chinese. My wife's Chinese, by the way, full disclosure, my wife's Chinese. But I don't know. I think it doesn't, none of this really makes sense in my head beyond that, some people are funneling money out of Russia into content creators on the conservative side.
Right.
And nobody seems to care that literally Destiny, Jasmine Jafar, Farha, Naso Erudite, and one other girl that I can't remember, all admitted on camera that they've taken money from various PACs specifically to say things in their content.
Right.
And nobody even batted an eye.
Right. And I'm far more concerned about what's going on behind the scenes of our mainstream media because they have far more of an impact than Lauren Chen and Tenet Media do. I do have to wonder, because I am Canadian as well, if I should be worried. I'm like, what do I need to know about being, a Canadian at this point? But my question is, I guess kind of the conservative response to this, do you guys think that people have kind of jumped the gun? Because it just seems like, as I said in my comment on Rumble before I jumped on with you fine gentlemen, is that it just seems like allegations are enough. Like, as far as, you just have to accuse somebody of something and suddenly they're just the guiltiest person in the world. It only seems to work on the conservative side of things, but I feel like conservatives are getting pulled into this thing too. And we're supposed to be the ones of like fairness, or wait till the story comes out, wait till the facts come out. But we're all like, everybody's jumping in with their pitchforks already. And I wonder, did Blaze Media act too quickly? I understand they've got to protect their company, but I have concerns about the way conservatives have handled this as well.
I really agree with that. That's amazingly insightful. And what's even more, so I believe, and I told my wife this last night, I believe that the media, the traditional media, is very threatened by this phenomenon of content creators engaging in media. And they can't control the right side. They can control the left side because those guys will take money from anybody and they'll do what they're told. On the right, maybe we take their money, maybe we don't. Maybe we take their money and we say what we want anyway.
I'll take the money. I will take the money.
Right. I get it.
But I'll take the money.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We'll all take the money, right?
Yeah.
Even if you don't need it, no, it's not bad to have a nest egg, right?
We won't be controlled. We won't be puppets, but we'll take your money. Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
If George Soros texted me right now and was like, bro, and apparently he says, bro, he was like,
100,000
hey,
a month.
I'm
Just say
trying
whatever.
a new thing. Yeah. I'm going to take the money. But
Yeah.
when,
And
Samantha, when you said timing,
Mm-hmm.
you know what no one's talking about? Not even 72 hours ago, Hunter Biden was found guilty on 9 counts of federal tax evasion. But what are we talking about? Lauren Chen possibly being, it's so confusing. The Chinese looking woman who's a Russian spy, like, it's like, what are we talking
the Canadian
about?
citizen.
Yeah. It's
Right.
so, it's like the worst game of Clue in the world. And Hunter Biden, Joe
Well, that's
Biden,
what they do. They obfuscate. They move goalposts. They do all of these things so that, like literally, Destiny on Piers Morgan can say, "Yeah, it doesn't matter if I took money from the PACs. I can, the truth remains. This is the truth, and it's not the truth." Piers Morgan even said, "Destiny, you're wrong. It's not the truth." And of course, he's in a downward spiral. Let's all admit that he's doing way more meth than he should. And
Pierce or Destiny?
Destiny.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Pierce doesn't need meth. He's got his ego to get high on. But you can literally have the liberal content creators admit on camera, yeah, I took money from a PAC to say things I don't believe, so to get kids to vote in a specific way. They can literally say that on camera. It's out there. You can go Google it and find it. And nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares.
Yep. Absolutely.
Can I just say, for the tech troubles we have had, I'm so proud of myself. I got this idea from watching Andrew Wilson streams. I've never done a simulcast like this, and it worked like first try. I feel like it'll never work again because it worked the first try.
I feel like you've got a mic somewhere that's picking up occasional bleed through.
Well, that's very possible. And that's because this mic's new and it's not worked right. Like Samantha knows, we've been through the ringer with this mic. It's a great mic. It's a Rode NT1, the 5th gen. It's awesome. And it's got a floating.
I'm using a Rode Podcaster mic right now, and I actually prefer it over the Shure. I prefer the Rode over it. Yeah, absolutely. And if you really want to get your mind blown, there's a Samson mic. I think it's $120 or it's $100. It's cheap, and it is amazing. It is amazing. It's heavy. I mean, that thing weighs like 5 pounds, but it's an amazing mic. It's really.
I've had tremendous success with my Blue Yeti. But today and last week, it was not working. It just wasn't registering in any of my software anywhere. So my brother-in-law, who used to make films, he permanently let me borrow an NTG 5 Plus or 4 Plus or whatever, like the Pro boom mic thing. So that's over there. I record music with it. I think the other mics are off. Hopefully it's off. I don't know. Here, can you hear this?
Every once in a while, we'll get like a feedback pop through. It's okay. Well, this is all great stuff on Lauren Chen. I can't find anything nefarious in anything she's ever said. She's literally the most vanilla conservative creator I can think
Except
of.
she's a feminist.
That's the worst
thing
yeah.
about her.
And Andrew called her out on it, and she has been sort of moving more away from fem. Like Arthur Dye in my chat, I have her up all the time, and she's a closet feminist as well. And I have to beat on her until she,
I don't
changes her ways.
Not trying to get canceled here. I hold women to a different standard because men and women are categorically different. I didn't make it up. It's in the book, folks. If it's in the book, I believe it, including the weird stuff in Judges, which is descriptive checks, not prescriptive. Lauren's show said it all. It was called pseudo-intellectual. I expect intellectualism out of men. I don't expect it out of women. There are a ton of brilliant women. Used to work for one, Julie Sweet, incredible leader. I couldn't do the things that she does. And it's whatever. She's doing her thing. Catholic, breast cancer survivor. You go, girl. You be the chairwoman of Accenture. Good for you. Partner at McGrath law firm in Manhattan. Obviously, she's very smart. But usually with logic and reasoning, most girls like to tap out. They like to do other things, and they bring us beauty and women's understanding of like grace and mercy, and even true justice is usually better than men's. Meanwhile, like my 10-year-old in the other room, he is learning the laws of logic. He's got 2 of the 4, and now he can be on the lookout for we haven't hit the excluded middle yet and consequent and all that stuff, but A is A. Identity.
Do you have yeah, see there, I'm getting feedback through you.
Through me or through her?
Yeah, through you.
Well, I don't know where it's coming from. I mean, it could be. Well, here, let me mute this. Is it? It's probably the simulcast. Okay, what about now? Are you getting feedback?
I don't know. Nope. It's good.
It's the simulcast.
Samantha, do you have kids?
Yeah, one of them just ran behind me.
Okay.
And a cat.
And I see your crazy cat lady showing.
Yep.
So we all have kids. Imperious, this isn't an open panel, pal. Sorry. It's Imperious. You have to go somewhere else. So we all have kids. So I have a real thing about that women should not raise children beyond when they're out of diapers. Like once they can go to the bathroom by themselves and are walking pretty good, men need to take over.
Okay.
Hardcore. That's hardcore. Expound.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna need more than that.
All throughout history, who taught children? It's the old men and the boys that were the older boys that were too young to go on the hunt or to go to war or go work in the fields. That's who taught the younger boys and girls to be humans, right? The women were too busy with other things, first of all. And second, I just don't think that women make good teachers. And this is where I trigger everybody. Why do you want someone who doesn't have the patience to even talk about your monthly bills? Why they keep tearing the mirror off the car when they back out of the garage, or what you're doing Friday night? If they don't even have patience enough to have a rational conversation about that, why do you want them teaching children?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not offended by that question, but I feel like the opposite. Like I feel like I have more, I shouldn't say my husband and I's relationship is like that because he has more patience to teach anything than I do. I'm not a teacher, but I feel like in general, in most households, women tend to have more of that patience to multitask, to address different things, to, I don't know. I feel like a lot of men kind of get tunnel vision on just like one thing at a time, or less of the creative side. I don't know. I've never really thought that much about it, but I feel like in my soul, like I disagree with that. but I am not a
That's
feminist.
because modern education wants women teaching feminism to young men, and they don't want men teaching actual life to men or anyone.
Well, that I can agree with. I feel like, the values that we wanna instill in children in general have completely shifted, and we're teaching the worst ideas to girls from a very young age, and now, of course, they make up the majority of the teaching profession, so we end up with all of these girls that end up being feminists from the time that they're pretty much born, and we have
I
male
just triggered
feminists,
my
so
feminist. I
yeah.
just triggered my feminist. Here we go. Can you guys see this?
I think you triggered some of my feminists too.
But you can't admit you have to admit this is right. You can look.
I don't think it's right. My take is different.
I'll
Bad
give you
as
examples. So
well,
you can go through any
I'll
system. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
you want me to state my thing? And
Go
I
ahead.
don't
Go
know.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Um, well, bad as Stang says, women teach kids in the home, men teach kids outside. Kind of, sort of. I think we spoke about last time we spoke a little bit about patriarchy, which correctly etymologized just means, it's not a scary word, people. It just means rule of the father. It means men, specifically men that own property and have a wife and children, are deciding what is right and not what's good, but like what ought to be done in society. A patriarchal society is where men say this far and no further. A matriarchal society is that same thing happens, it's just women are saying this is what's appropriate and this is what's not. So if you have a properly ordered, the great philosopher said there seems to be an order to the universe. If you have a properly ordered self, God, man, and then family, community, and you have a properly ordered home, and God is the head of Christ, Christ is the head of man, man is the head of woman, not a value statement. Women are just as valuable. Women are equal to men in value, but in leadership, things are hierarchical, and that's just the way it is. I didn't decide that, and I didn't decide that I would be a man. It just, that's how the cookie crumbled. If you have that rightly ordered, then the husband should be setting the parameters for what's acceptable in the home, and then it would be fine for the wife, as an extension of that authority, to be teaching whatever. I've never experienced this because my wife is more skilled in homeschooling. She's the product of homeschooling and stuff. I've never experienced, hey, I don't like this, or I don't think that this is right. But I do think that there's a time where the man should come in. And I think, so I'm close to you. I think, and I just told my son this because he's in the double digits in between little kid, 8 and under, 9 and under, and teenager, 13 and on. I said, this transition is where I take you from mom. We're talking logic. We're talking reason. You're learning about etymology, hermeneutics. You're learning more of a cursory understanding of the Bible and truth and philosophy. And he's also started, he carries a knife. He has an AR-15. He's been trusted to start to grow into a dangerous man who uses his violence for good. I don't think that's stuff that a woman could teach a boy, but maybe.
So let me expand on what I have to say. And that way they can get truly triggered. Throughout history, you can look at any culture, any race, any part of the world. You can look from ancient China, the Mongols, Greece, Rome, all the same. There was only one female teacher ever mentioned in Roman texts, ever. And she was the daughter of the teacher, the great teacher. So that's interesting. While I can almost agree that, okay, you can teach a kid how to do certain things, I think that male teachers just do a better job. They're more patient. They're more focused. They teach more focus. And they don't, most men, I'm not talking about soy boy, people that want to dress in dresses. I'm talking about men tend to be, or should tend to be, much more stern in their teaching. They do not enable. They do not aggrandize. And they demand a specific level of capability. Like you're talking about when if you're teaching your son how to shoot. Men do that because, first of all, it's dangerous. And second, there's no room for error. There's no room for you to be just willy-nilly and, oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll get it next time. It's very specific. It has to be done a certain way. The same thing can be said of algebra, right? Now, my son goes to a private school, so it's a little bit different. And they have more male teachers than the average school. He gets better grades from his male and performs better with the male teachers than he does the female teachers. The female teachers will say things like he has trouble focusing. He has trouble wandering. His mind wanders. We don't know how to control him. They've said that in the past. I don't say it now. I've never had that ever one time from a male teacher. Okay. That's just the way it is. I don't disagree that women can't instruct in some way. I think that anyone can do that. I know plenty of female firearms instructors. I know plenty of female instructors. I'm not saying that they can't. I'm saying that for young people, kids, you need that masculine presence and the stoicism. You need the expectation of excellence, and women don't do that. They don't. They coddle. They enable. They say it's okay. Get it next time. It's fine. And it just isn't. I just have not experienced in my past teachers that do that. Now I went to a military school.
On like heart teaching versus head teaching. Like women kind of teach feelings.
Right. Yeah. And school isn't a place to learn feelings. That's dumb. That's ridiculous to say that.
Well, and I think in a lot of ways you have to look at what you mean by education and learning, because I think, when you're looking at, the historical education that was more focused on hunting, gathering, and, more of those really fundamental things. I think education has evolved and there's so much more that we're learning. And I think that there is a balance, because I do agree that there's far too much female influence in education right now, especially with liberal women, with feminist ideas. And that's not a good idea. That's not helping anybody. But when you think about what men and women offer, from a balanced perspective, you do have men that bring in that logic and that very it's black and white, like it's right or it's wrong. It is what it is. Whereas I think women kind of bring in this, okay, let's start asking questions. Let's explore this idea. And I mean, as I'm listening, you have these male teachers and that, the students perform better under these male teachers. Do you think that maybe male students perform under male teachers better and female students respond better to female professors? Like, I could see the argument for more schools that are split by sex. We have boys going to boys' schools and girls going to girls' schools.
100% agree. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I do agree with that.
Well, and of course, absent the feminist ideas, like we're talking about good, well-rounded, good Christian teachers. Like Joe Mobeley's wife should start her own all-girls school. She would be awesome. I, on the other hand, would not. But, I think, with the right foundation, obviously we're not talking about these feminist lunatics.
Right. Now, and you guys understand how the modern
we have 5 kids that she's homeschooled, so it's like she does have a school.
Mm-hmm, yep.
So when we talk about the modern education system, we do understand that we're talking about and we all understand how that came about, from J.D. Rockefeller and the robber barons deciding that they needed docile workers and creating the education system in the country and then giving it to the government lock, stock, and barrel so that public education became an indoctrination camp for people to go to work and have jobs and not continue to excel. The problem I have with public education is there are many things I have a problem with public education. With the education system in general, I have a lot of problems with but mostly it's because we always talk about how we want kids to be creative and all of that, and we're doing the exact opposite of that. We do not. They're not out in the world actually learning anything. They don't. And we're talking. We've got entire schools with experiential learning programs, right? Well, that's dumb. First, because you're putting a kid that may not respond to any of the things that you're teaching in a class where they're going to get graded on something that they may not like anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that's stupid. And I don't like it. I think it's flawed. I think the whole thing needs to be burned to the ground and rebuilt. I really dislike the education system in the US, especially since it was based on the Prussian model. And the Prussian model built excellent soldiers, but horrible people. So, and I would really expand on this, except I sound like a old guy. I would really love to have like an hour. I could do an hour just on this. I can't right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Well, I feel bad, but I do have to jump offline. I have to put my kids to bed. But
to bed, yeah. Well, my son's putting himself to bed right now, and if he doesn't, I will go find out. And really quickly, I do practice what I preach. I pulled my kid out of public school because it was horrible. I put him in a private school. I put him in a private Christian school. When that school no longer was aligned with my ideals, we moved him to a different private school, which is more aligned with our ideals. I retired at 45 so that I take care of the kids. My wife doesn't have anything to do with the kids. No, I've changed like 4 diapers. Okay. So she had them during the bonding stage when moms need to be involved in the kid's life, right? On a daily basis. But once they get to about 4 or 5, they're mine. They're my kid. And I take over and I train them and all of that. So
interesting. That would be an interesting subject to dive into a little bit more. So we'll have to put a pin in that one.
Perfect. Reach out to Joe who's got all my information.
Yeah, you really did activate the feminist. I'm actually streaming on YouTube, and they're out.
Yeah, no, I think I mean, before I go, people need to stop getting offended about these conversations, because we really do need to be able to discuss, what part men and women play in the roles of raising children and where those benefits come from. Because, I mean, as I said, I completely agree that we have far too much female influence. Like our society has become far too feminized. We don't have enough masculine influence. So, it is unfortunate, and we're seeing the consequences of that. So I don't disagree. It would just be a very interesting subject to dive into. And I hope people are listening to what it is, that there's a conversation to be had here, and we solve problems and we can make things better if we can actually talk about them. So stop getting offended.
Right. Yeah. And, now not about this, because this I have very strong feelings about, but on other subjects, I will often take the opposing or contrarian view just to push people to defend their idea, because why not? If you can't defend your idea, then why do I need to listen to you?
Right.
So, anyway.
All right. Well, I'm going to go.
Great having you, Samantha. You feel free anytime.
Thanks for letting me crash the party, guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
Please stay in touch.
Yep. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Joe, that was awesome to have her on. That was really good. We've really triggered Arthrodaya. She has literally written a book in my chat.
That's what I'm talking about. Some people in my YouTube are saying, no. The feminists are in. You got to check out. And speaking of, if you're watching the simulcast, that's great. But subscribe to An Unreasonable Man. It's the first link right there in the description if you're watching on any of my channels. so that you can catch his content. I think you stream like what, 3-5 times a week.
I stream three nights a week and 2 days a week. And everyone's pushing me to go to more days. They really like the daytime show. And I do about 3 hours at a time. And I go on everybody's panels. I'm all over that's why I can't talk. Because yesterday I literally started at 8 o'clock in the morning and I finished at 10 o'clock at night. And I was basically streaming the whole time.
The panels are what get you. I've debated some of the craziest people and I've never yelled, but I'll be in a panel for 2 hours and I'll yell. Like I hear the craziest things in there. And you're right. It's not even about it's just like articulate a position, make a claim, and then substantiate it with evidence, facts.
Right.
Like just make an argument. And not women. And honestly, I hardly ever debate or argue with a woman. But like these men that can't reason themselves out of a paper bag, it drives me crazy. It just makes me feel like we have no hope as a society when these like femboys can't. It's not that they can't argue, it's that they can't reason at all. Like, is the thing true or is it not? Well, it depends. No, it doesn't depend. There's the law of identity. It's A or it's not A. None of this middle bull crap.
Nobody cares about your feelings, man. Just give me the facts. Just give me the facts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a boy, but sometimes, I feel this way. And I'm like, I could care less. I couldn't care less. I never say that saying right. I think it's I couldn't care less.
Yeah. Throw that up there. Arthur Diet, that won't rile me up. I'm not a housewife. At best, I'm a house husband. But I'm a full grown man and I take care of my kids. My kids are literally the most important thing I've ever done in my life. And my wife is a housewife to some degree. I take care of the kids now. That has nothing to do. I still don't cook dinner unless I want to. I do my laundry, but that's just because I don't know. I just prefer to do my laundry. I don't know why. It's weird. She does all the rest of the laundry. I don't do anybody else's laundry. I just do mine. I don't know why. It's just weird that way. I'm just weird. I think because I'm like really OCD about the way it has to be done. And it just is.
I was picky in that way.
Yeah, I don't clean the house either, really.
Yeah, like when I was a soldier and maybe some other times, I was very particular.
Well, that was great. That was. I didn't realize that was going to trigger quite as many people as hard as it did. I've said that so many times before. Arthur Dyer has never gotten this riled up about it.
They're triggered.
Your volume's really low.
Oh no! What did I do? Maybe I need to move in. Yes, no.
That mic is off. You're getting picked up by a mic farther away.
Rode virtual. Here. Let's see. What about now? Better? Worse? No, the signal's smaller.
Just like Grid, I sent you the bow video to show Arthur Daya. Thank you, Jess. I will. I'll go get that now.
Is this better or worse?
Probably over here. There we go. You got it, Joe.
Oh, come on. Pick the right
one. All right,
mic.
Joe, I'm gonna throw this up on the screen. Don't
Can you hear me now? Anything? I don't know if he. Oh, I just heard myself.
Every woman's bow to the patriarchy. How every nation bow to the patriarchy. How every woman bow to the patriarchy.
To the patriarchy and men.
Yes, please bow. bow as a sign of respect to the patriarchy.
Song about bowing to the patriarchy. Everyone must bow to the patriarchy. How every nation bow to the patriarchy. How every woman will bow to the patriarchy.
Here we go. Bow to the patriarchy. There's a one.
Almost cursed. And now what's the two?
Song about bowing to the patriarchy. Everyone must bow to the patriarchy.
Notice how she's bowing while doing her chores.
Patriarchy. How every woman will bow to the patriarchy.
Doing the dishes, doing the laundry.
Everyone must bow to the patriarchy. How every nation should bow to the patriarchy. How every woman bow to the patriarchy.
Double bow.
That's royal. That was royal.
Let's give it. Let's give her some love. Everybody put it up in the chat for Jazz.
Can you hear me now?
Joe, I can't actually hear you. Let me.
All
right, Joe, you back yet?
Maybe.
Did I turn my
Nothing.
volume down
Okay.
that far?
What
again.
about now?
Oh, I've got
Any-
it now. I may have turned my volume down really low. I see Glenn Lawrence in the chat. He actually made that video we just saw of Jess bowing while she was doing her chores. Thank you very much.
I don't know, Jess, but
She's
my-
Australian.
my comment is just like cover yourself. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think her husband was home. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
That might have been her uniform of the day.
some uniforms are just for your husband.
Right.
That's my
I do not disagree with that.
that's
I
my
actually
two
had a-
cents.
I've had a female co-host a couple of times. The last one was Kat Katibi. She's great, but she sent me a picture over for the like thumbnails, and I'm like, "Do you have something that doesn't look like look maybe a little less exposure?" She thought that was funny. But, well, it's just the way it is, like you don't need side boob hanging out everywhere. So
Yeah, I like to say something will happen and I'll say I got to know someone more than I would have liked to, because people come out in some very intimate attire and
Yeah.
it's just like, how do you feel comfortable? The funny thing is, and can I just say, at great risk to myself, I've started doing this one thing. I've started calling these chicks out because they're always like trying to cover themselves up. And I'm like, you dress like a whore. Why are you trying to cover yourself up? Like, you chose to wear this and now you're here and you're trying to keep things like, which is it? Is it female empowerment and I'm winning by showing people my body, or is it embarrassing? And it's embarrassing because that's called shame and guilt. That's why,
Yeah.
again, it's in the book. They recognized they were naked and they felt shame and they immediately went and clothed themselves. But here you are, progressive. You're so smart. You're so smart. It's like the race dial, those nice cars where the dial, it's a 360-degree dial. The fastest number on there is right next to 0. So they've gone all the way around. Like, you're so smart, you're dumb. You're back around to 0. Blah.
that's true. That is very true.
We could definitely have a follow-on conversation about feminism.
Oh, feminism is hilarious. And
Great montage.
Arthur Dias says that it's literally hard for her to find a bathing suit that covers her butt properly.
Just
Yeah.
make one. Just make one.
Right. Right? Yeah. Why would you not?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm probably good for one more topic.
One more topic. All right. Yeah, me too, because I'm fading fast here. Let's see. What's a good topic? I kind of brought you in blind and I didn't give you any show notes or anything like that because I really did kind of want to get your raw takes, and I have, and that's been great. What's a subject that you feel like isn't talked about enough?
Oh man. So many things. I mean, we spoke about some of it, which is
I'm going to come down for like 2 minutes and keep talking.
yeah, just the fact that objective reality is objective reality. Some people talk about it. Charlie Kirk talks about it. Truth, beauty, love, purpose, these things are real. They can be known. And it kind of pisses me off because every time I try and engage with someone at work, I call myself an uncloseted conservative. That means, hey, you have to share your thoughts, your opinions, your beliefs, no matter the circumstance or the real or perceived consequences. So, like at work in a government office, I'll tell people, "Oh, I don't believe in that. I believe that the universe is 10,000 years old or so." And they're a scientist at work, and there are all these people with their degrees and their PhDs and blah blah blah, and they're building cool whatever. And I'm just like, it's cool, man. I just think something else. It's whatever. And we get into all these arguments. But when we talk about the problem of evil, when we talk about what happens after you die, there's all of this squishiness, and they want to bring in the fallacy that is everything. All of the important stuff is inside the excluded middle. And I'm like, they tell me that I'm too smart to be a Christian, and I'm telling them, you're too smart to constantly break the third law of logic. Everything cannot be in the excluded middle. Almost nothing is gray. 99% of things are black or white. And when we're talking about the problem of evil, right and wrong, all of these ethical dilemmas, all of these moral questions, they want to say it's all gray. And I'm like, that's retarded. And then I get in trouble for saying retarded. But there's a flaw in the logic here. So I don't know. It's very boring. I think that's why it doesn't get talked about. But relativity is reigning supreme right now, I think, as the number one thing. And then number two is probably hedonism, nihilism, something like that. And it's because people can't think properly. And if we don't talk to them, if we don't engage in it, then the whole battle is lost. But we're told we can't engage in it because they're taboo topics, things you're not supposed to talk about at work, things that you're not supposed to talk about with your close friends. All of the taboo topics are the things you should be talking about. You should be talking about money, about sex, about politics, about child rearing, about crime and punishment. Those are the important topics. But the big lie is, don't talk about these things because they're taboo, they're inappropriate. That means that all of your relationships are frivolous. They're all shallow relationships about sports and entertainment. So that's my rant complete.
Well, that's a lot to unpack. So my kids, sorry, man, my voice really went. My son today went on we did a shooting competition, sporting clays, and he and so I was there with some of the teen parents from the school that I hadn't really met before, and they asked, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I'm retired, but I do this little podcast. And actually, I think the coach had asked me how it was going, and I told him it was good, but I'm kind of beating myself up, and I've hurt my voice and that kind of thing. And he's like, okay, and I'm like, yeah, but it's going really well. I really like it. I really enjoy doing it. And I told him it is because I can have those harder conversations with people. And not necessarily in an echo chamber, where I'll have people coming and give me feedback or troll, there are trolls constantly, there's all kinds of things like this, right?
I like engaging with your trolls in the chat.
I do. I enjoy engaging with the trolls, that's for sure. And then but one of the ladies, I showed her a couple of the clips from my show, and one of them was about how modern Christians are often degenerates, and which is a really controversial thing to say, but it's true. And she watched the whole video, and I told her, I warned her, I'm like, look, I use adult language. This is not, if you're sensitive, don't watch this. She's like, no, it's good. And she went on about it. She did. Her and the coach were watching it, and a couple other people, and they're like, that's really good. And I'm like, yeah, cool, thank you, I appreciate it. And then a few minutes later, the coach, we're standing around talking, waiting to go out on course, and the coach says, hey, what do you think about this? And I actually gave him that. He asked, how do you make young men better young men? What do you think about this? I said, well, the first thing you do is you have to kill all feminism in the schools. And then, basically we need to kill all feminism, but really, especially in the schools, because it's just eroding young men. And really, we shouldn't have female teachers at all. And I could see this mom's face. She was the only mom there. I could see her face just change. But she didn't object. She didn't didn't go all overboard. She didn't spaz out like Arthur Daya did. And basically, later at lunch, she came back and said, we were having a discussion about something else, and we especially were talking about how she enjoyed the video that I'd shown her about the people in church. And we went down another subject, and she's like, I agree with 90% of what you're saying. And I'm like, well, good, because I'd be worried if you agreed with me 100%. Like, I'd be really concerned. But it's the fact that she didn't do exactly what you're talking about, where she didn't even want to have the conversation. She didn't run away because I used coarse language. She engaged in that. And that's so rare these days. It's exactly what you're talking about. People don't want to have hard conversations. People don't want to engage on things that take them out of their comfort zones. They will disengage. They will literally look at you and they'll tell you you're wrong. They will never tell you what you're wrong about. They'll just say you're wrong.
You know who's right on the bubble with this? Jordan Peterson. I disagree with him about a lot, as someone should, but when you look at his definition of marriage, he says marriage means no matter what you tell me, I won't run away. I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's what a covenant relationship is. A true friend, a true friend, you should have to do high crimes and misdemeanors to lose a true friend. Like you're a murderer or something, or a true friend should be, hey, no matter what you tell me, I won't run away. If we have disagreements, that's fine. My best friend right now is liberal. He was a Christian. He was a youth pastor. Now he's just a regular old heathen. He lives 90 minutes from here, veteran, all tatted up, terrible potty mouth. He can call me at 3-4 o'clock in the morning. I'll be in the car to go do whatever we need to do. So,
it's interesting, and we really should have that discussion. I say that real men only have one or two friends. We'll have a ton of acquaintances. We'll have tons of people we work with, tons of people we get along with. And most men should be able to get along with other men within reason. But there should only be one or two people that if they call you at 3 o'clock in the morning, not only do you answer the phone, whatever they need, you're there, right? And I say this, I've got maybe like, I've got like 2 real friends, and an argument can be made. I really only have one. That if they call me up right now, I go inside. I tell my wife I got to go, and you know she would understand because she knows who that is. And I would I would drive across country. The one of them had actually asked me once. He called me up and he said, "Hey man, I got to go to my uncle's place. I can't take my dog. I got to fly. I can't put my dog in a kennel or anything." He's like, "Could you? I'm looking for someone to watch my dog. If I can't find anybody, could you help me out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." I was in Tennessee and he was in Colorado. It's a 22-hour drive. I've driven there to take care of his dog for him.
Yeah. Well, the heart of what you're saying here is that small, and people putting in the chat, that small circle that men have. It's because a man, a truly masculine man, is guarded. We don't just kick it with everyone. I take that back. You can kick it with everyone. I can have a beer and a good conversation with just about anyone.
Sure.
But people that you actually share the burdens that you carry as a man, the darkest, the worst stuff. And people are like, "Oh, pornography." No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, like, there was a time in my life where I wanted to kill abortionists. Like, I wanted to go in, and I have the knowledge, skills, capabilities. I could probably just get away with it if we're totally honest. Like someone that I could talk to about something like the darkest things that I've ever been involved with or thought about. There are 2 people on earth. There are only 2 people. And it's sad to be this way. Those people have more access to me than most of my relatives.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
that's you bond. These bonds are forged. The reason that they say blood is thicker than water. Oh, this is such a good point. I'm glad that you led the conversation this way. Blood is thicker than water does not mean what people think it means. They think it means heritage. That's not what it means. It's not your blood relatives. It's actually backwards. Blood is thicker than water. The water is actually the water of the womb, that familial relationship. That's the lesser relationship. The blood is the people that you fight and sweat and cry and bleed with, the bonds that are forged in the fire. Those relationships are thicker than the ones that you happen to have been born into.
All ancient societies had a version of blood brother.
Yeah.
And it wasn't your brother by blood.
It's the one that you would bleed for.
Yeah. The one that I would spill my blood for. And those are the people that you could tell, hey, I'm having thoughts of leaving my wife. I'm having or I'm having thoughts of changing my entire life. I hate my job. I hate my boss. I just want to walk in and punch that guy in the face. And you could tell somebody that, and there would be no judgment. And what little, or maybe not no judgment, but the judgment that was there would be balanced with an understanding of your character.
And there's no risk. There's no risk that you're going to ruin the relationship over something that you said, did, thought, felt.
Right. Right. And it's something that we've lost largely. I think there are men that think that way. Like I've been this way my whole life. And I feel bad because I think most women do not have this. Right. I think most women have very superficial relationships that never go deeper than they absolutely need to. Whereas we know as men, when men get together, we build that connection. We know that we can count on that dude.
Yep.
Right. We know if I need bail money, right? I'm not calling my wife. I'm calling this guy over here, and I think by and large, I mean, we can get into when I have a voice, we could get into all of the things that men do that people don't think we do, right? Like, just if somebody, like, I gave money to somebody the other day just because they really needed it. And I knew they needed it and they were embarrassed to even ask for it. You know, so.
That's a good conversation to get on. Maybe I got to get on your calendar earlier in the day. You're right, man. The panels are brutal. They're brutal on the voice. It's a lot of nonstop talking.
Yeah, well, I tried to take it easy today, but the damage was done yesterday, and I may be a little tiny bit sick too. I don't feel sick, but
Everyone in my house is sick, so I'm probably going to be sick tomorrow or Monday.
okay. I
Yeah.
do have a kid in daycare, so it could be something that he's totally immune to. That, you know, me as an old guy, I get a glancing dose. Whoever. I really enjoy our conversation, Joe. It's been great. I know you have to go. I know it's late for you there, and you've probably got kids to get to bed and things like that. Because I know you're an hour after me. It's 9:38 here, so it's almost 11 there.
Yeah.
So,
I've got to make
and
some tea for my wife.
there you go.
And hopefully just one kid needs to go to bed. Hopefully the other 4 are sleeping.
And I'm gonna cut my show short tonight, guys, because I don't want to do any more damage to my voice than I already have. I will not be streaming tomorrow at all. You will not see me anywhere. I'm gonna do something, but not this. I'll be back Monday afternoon at noon, hopefully, and we'll do the financial show. We'll talk business. We'll talk good stuff, and we'll take. I really want to take. I want to try and. I wish I could find more information about these financial moves that they're accusing the Chins of, so I could analyze it.
I think I don't think there's going to be a there. I think.
Do you think this will disappear in 2 months?
Yeah, this is definitely not like
30 days.
You think
it's 30 days?
October surprise. This is. I think this was done to cover up Biden's conviction. Hunter Biden
Temple's lawsuit.
Yeah.
There's like 8 things.
Yeah, exactly. But everyone's like, oh, right-wing media. Or it could also be done to discredit, because they cancel a lot of shows like this ahead of the elections. This could be a misinformation campaign to discredit new media, alternative media.
Well, that's actually what I really think it is. And I've had many people reach out to me behind the scenes and say, hey, and I cannot tell you who told me, and I'm not going to go into it, but I've had people in the media industry reach out and say, hey, these major media companies are tired of losing, and they're really tired of losing to conservatives, because they can't have, have you ever noticed that, look, they don't have Dave Rubin on Piers Morgan. They have Destiny. Now, of the 2 people that you would think would go on Piers Morgan, who would you think would be going?
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got the meth addict up there.
That's a good point. Oh my gosh. You know what? I've had my mic debiled this whole time. Can you hear me right now?
I can.
I've had my mic debiled. I used to use OBS, but I use Ecamm Live, and I selected the mic in your software, and I selected the mic in my software. That's why
I was getting that feedback.
Oh man, I'm a dummy. All right. Note to self for next time.
Well, this has been great. I would love to go another hour, but I can't. To my chat, I'm not going to redirect you guys tonight. Go find a good podcast. I think Andrew's doing a TikTok invasion to Joe's audience. If you haven't watched one of Andrew Wilson's TikTok invasions, oh my God, it's so funny. Go look it up. He's going to go live. I think he might be live now, but it's the most thing. He literally jumps on these TikTok panels they don't know who he is, and he just rips them to shreds. So it's really funny. Oh, is it Midnight Invasion? Yeah, okay. So you're gonna have to wait a couple hours. You guys go have fun somewhere else. Joe, it was amazing to have a conversation with you and outspoken Samantha. Hopefully she comes back on. She was great. I'm sad that I didn't get to really have a good conversation with her.
She
we'll do
stayed
that.
later than usual. So when we're on from 8:30 to 9:30, 9:45 at the latest. She's got a hard out. So maybe a good contestant for a day show.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. And
Yeah.
and I've had a lot of people tell me that I need to do my day shift show every day, but I can't do it every day. But maybe I'll start doing it on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I'll say thanks for having me on there.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
know how these numbers work, if people are actually here, if they've come and gone. It says 108 or so. If there are 108 of you out there watching on some Joe Mobeley Show channel, go over to An Unreasonable Man. You don't have to find it. It's the link. You just open the description.
just
There's a
click the
link
link.
right there. Hit
Yeah.
the link and subscribe to his channel.
Yeah, come subscribe. We'll do everything. We'll have all of the good stuff. Arthur Dyer wants more politics at night. Maybe I'll do an early night show. I don't know. We'll figure it out, guys. I'm still new at this, so but I'm gonna go.
It's really good content. I have enjoyed watching it, not just in preparation for this, but after I saw you on CT's channel, I've been watching.
Oh, you like my content, man? Really?
Yeah, man. I watch it while I do my day job.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that. It's nice to have people say that that it's good, because you kind of get an echo chamber of like the 40 or 50 people
Yep.
that are telling you that it's great, and you're like, does anyone else really like think this is that great? But hopefully everybody does. Hopefully I'm doing pretty good. You guys, all right, so I'm out. Joe, if you have any last closing words, please, everybody go like Joe Mobeley on Rumble. I'm trying hard to convince Joe to come back to YouTube.
I did.
You did.
Yeah,
You did.
I switched and it was you, but also I met with Daryl and I forget your name. I met with the proprietors of Content Safe, and they were just talking. It's funny because I've been a business consultant for so many years, and they were having some hard business conversations with me, and just such easy hanging fruit. X is great. Elon Musk could get hit by a bus tomorrow and radically alter the future of that company. And for me to not be on these other platforms, it's a push of a button. It's a push of a button for me to send my show to 1 or 2 platforms, or to send it to 9 platforms.
Well, what do you think about the Talk Studio?
I think it's awesome. I think anything other than StreamYard, I had some real hard. I had a hard landing with StreamYard. They were part of the throttling of my show. I use Ecamm Live. Works well with Mac users. But yeah, I like the setup here.
So with StreamYard, you can interface that with with the Talk Studio. You interface that with Streamlabs, and it'll do TTS, and it does basically everything the OBS does, but a little better.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out TTS I tried Rumble Studio. It's not ready for what I needed it to do. Does YouTube censor you, Joe? Yes, they do, so much so. I don't know if you caught at the top of the show. Arthur Dyer. They actually nuked my show. So I have no idea how many followers I have over there. And I had over 10,000. I had millions of views. I think I had 6 million views or whatever. I was one of the mad dads in Loudoun County that were all over the internet, all over Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. Anyway, YouTube nuked my show. The show is still called the same thing, so I'm sure they probably still have their finger on some button over there, but I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, YouTube is changed a lot. And like you can do almost anything live if you make it private or members only at the end of it. I don't do that. And at some point I'm probably going to get a strike, but I haven't gotten a strike yet. And I push the envelope, but I know exactly the TOS, and I'll run right up against the red line. And yeah. All right. All right, guys, I'm done. It's getting where I'm talking.
Feel
shorter.
better, man.
I just wasn't going to
having me.
cancel, man. I just consider it so unprofessional to cancel. I was like, I'm not going to cancel, and we'll just do it. I'll make the best of it. It's been a great show.
I appreciate it. It's been a great conversation, and love that your chat is awesome.
Yeah. You guys have a great evening out in chat. Joe, I appreciate the last words. My last words will be just do better, guys. Just do better. I never read contracts. I read them. Absolutely. I read every single one of them. Don't. Angry Casper, stop being so angry. You're too angry. All right. With that, guys, good night. I'm not going to redirect you anywhere tonight. You guys just go have fun. See you.